Howdy, Fletch from All Things Overlanding here. Today, I'm going to be doing a more, I don't know if I'd say scientific test, but I'm going to be trying to demonstrate a little bit more what those Auxbeam 3.5-inch pods up on my roof can do. Also, I've got these Boslla lights down here on the grill, right there. Wanted to show those off a little bit too, but the Aux Beams are great, still love them. The headlights that I have are LEDs from Aux Beam, and that's kind of why I decided to make the leap to the Aux Beam pods for the roof. You know, I've been looking at Rigid, I've been looking at Diode Dynamics. They're great lights, I'm sure. They're just so expensive, right? So these pods I actually got a pair for 60 bucks, so 120 bucks total for them. And again, I'm going to show you what these things are like. And I mean, I'm sure that the Diode Dynamics and the Rigids are brighter, but for the money, like this is like a fifth, a tenth of some of the prices of these other lights, and I'm really liking them. So again, it's getting to be a little bit dusk right now, so I'm gonna wait till it gets dark, and then I'm literally gonna sit in the truck and I'm gonna turn on the headlights. I'm gonna turn on the headlights with fog lights. I'm gonna turn on the Boslla lights down here to show you what those are like. I'm going to turn on the ditch lights here, which are NiLights. I'm getting ready actually to replace those with Aux Beam ditch lights because I'm so happy with the Aux Beams that I'm going to replace those too. But currently they are NiLights on the sides for my ditch lights, and they're not bad. They were really cheap, 20 bucks I think for the pair of them, but they are not bad. And then most importantly, these bad boys. So those Aux Beam 3.5-inch pods are really freaking nice, man. So I can't wait to show you. Let me flip the camera here and I will show you where I am right now. So I'm in Hoosier National Forest. I'm at one of my favorite spots. This place kind of gets overgrown. It has a really, really steep incline that you have to kind of overcome to get up into it. So I think a lot of like the casual campers don't bother coming up here. So you can kind of see that the path in is kind of overgrown and flooded and stuff. But so what I'm thinking is this will give us a nice long alleyway. So when it gets dark, I'm going to, again, turn on the lights and I'm going to go one by one by one. And I'm going to explain which ones are which. And I'm going to kind of show you guys the spread of the light, the distance that the light carries, and all that good stuff. So a semi-scientific, not terribly scientific, but somewhat scientific experiment to show you the quality and the throw and the distance of these lights. All Things Overlanding is brought to you by Red Arc, Power Management Solutions, Rugged Bound Supply Company, rooftop tents, awnings, roof racks, and more. Overland Addict, premium overland gear. Last US Bag, overlanding bags and equipment. Northology Overland, trips, and a monthly overlanding magazine. All of these companies are really amazing, so I highly recommend you click through the links in the description below to learn more about each of them. So again, we've got Auxbeam LED full replacement headlights in here. I've got some Alla LED yellow fogs down below. Then these are the Boslla light, and then these are the NiLight. These have been on here for a month and a half or two maybe, but they don't have any condensation or anything in them. They seem to be doing okay. And they throw a decent amount of light. It's not a long throw, but it is a bright white that will illuminate the ditches, which is what they're for. And then the Aux Beam. So, you know, you may be asking yourself why I have white on the outside and then yellow on the inside, and there is a reason for that. So, you know, these are pretty bright lights. And what everybody says is, what about glare? With my old lights, they were such a spotlight type beam that they didn't really throw any light on the hood. I had almost no glare. But with these, I do get some glare. But so my idea with it was, you know, you get a lot more clarity, you get a lot more contrast with the yellow lights. So I put the yellow ones in the middle so that I would have less like white wash on the hood when they're on. And it has proven itself to be pretty true. You'll see it in the video later that it does get a fair amount of glare. One idea that somebody told me that I actually kind of like the idea of, and I may try and figure something out, is they made some sort of like a shield that would go underneath of the lights that just kind of sticks out a little bit, like a shelf kind of, that keeps the light from hitting the hood. And that's actually a pretty cool idea if you ask me. So maybe at some point, we'll see how bad it is, right? At some point I may look into doing something like that. But again, like, you know, for me, when I come out here, you know, there are a lot of times, especially when I bring my kids and stuff, they wake up at 5 in the morning and they're not going back to sleep, or it's pouring down rain, or the weather has turned, and, you know, you want to leave, but it's pitch black. There are deer everywhere in Hoosier National Forest. There's just a lot of sort of danger, right, in the woods in the dark. There are a lot of creatures there. It's really hard to see stuff. I mean, it's dark out here in the national forest because you're so far away from, you know, the city lights. So I have had multiple scary experiences. I did the Trans-Wisconsin Adventure Trail years ago, and I had no lights, and I mean, I thought I was going to just demolish a deer every 6 feet. It was terrifying. So anyway, so now I've been constantly last few years in the pursuit of like better and better lighting so that I don't ever have to go through that again, and I think that I might finally be pretty close. So again, I'm going to show you all this stuff here tonight when it gets dark, so let's just wait for it to get dark now. All right, guys, so it is pretty much dusk now. Pretty dark. Not 100% dark, but pretty dark. So I figure it's dark enough to test the lights. So we're going to do that here right now. All right, guys, so my thought with this is I'm just going to run it off battery. They're all LED, so we shouldn't really see any like noticeable drop of like light or anything like that. But I also don't want to run the truck just because I don't want it to be loud for other people if they're around. But so, again, kind of my thought is I'm just going to let everything kind of turn on. I'm going to close the door. Actually, it stopped beeping finally. So, again, I'm going to kind of give you the driver's view straight out the front here. I'm going to wait a second, make sure the radio doesn't come on. And I'm going to just kind of add lights in succession as we go. So, I rest my hand on the steering wheel. This is basically right in front of my face. All right, so the other thing is you may be able to hear a little bit. So these Aux Beam LED headlights actually have built-in fans in them, which at first I was like, ugh, what if those die? But they've been going strong for years now, and I haven't had any problems, but it just helps them run cooler, which is kind of interesting. So I'm going to turn on the headlights first. So that's parking lights. There's headlights. So again, these are LED headlights. They are significantly brighter than my stock headlights were, but you still see they're not that great, right? They're not terrible, but they're not that great. Now when I add in my fog lights, these are aftermarket LED yellow fog lights. You can kind of see there, they just do a little bit down low and a little bit up high. I mean, again, like for stock, I'm not complaining, right? But so those add a little bit. Now, if we're going to do the Bosslas next, so those are down on the tabs on the grill. So when I turn those on, they've got a good mix of white and orange light. So you can kind of see they definitely add, right? Like they're definitely better than nothing, right? So they're decent. They're okay. They do a little bit of ditch lighting. They don't really do a ton with the headlights, but they do definitely throw light further out. So like the light spread is actually not too bad. So now here are going to be the addition of the NiLight ditch lights. So you can kind of see they catch the tab of, at least on the driver's side, they catch the tab of the hood latches, which are not pretty, I know, but they make me feel better about the solar panel on the hood. But they definitely do, like, if you're looking over to the side, right, for deer and stuff, they do a little bit. So they're not great, but they do add some light to the side. So that's why I'm excited to see the Aux Beams. That's where I was like, you know what, these are still pretty weak, but they definitely do, you know, over there you can't see hardly anything. With the ditch lights, you definitely get some more lights, right? So that's with ditch lights. Now these are the big boys. These are the Aux Beam lights that I'm getting ready to turn on. These are my favorites. So look at, this is with all these lights on, right? I got the ditch lights on, the Boslla lights, the fog lights, the headlights. Look at that. Right, so like distance, illumination, you do have a little bit of glare off the hood, but again with the yellow, it's not too bad. Like it's not like it's blinding me or anything, it's just illuminated. But so now let's turn off the ditch lights because those aren't really doing a whole lot, right? So I'm leaving the Aux Beams on, but the ditch lights are coming off. Now I'm going to turn off the Bosslas. Now if I turn off the fog lights, those do nothing pretty much. You can't see anything with those. And if I turn off my headlights, those pretty much do nothing. So like literally this is just the Aux Beam hood or roof mounted 3.5-inch pods, the 4 of those now. But I mean that pretty much in and of itself lights up more than all the other lights put together. You know, ditch lights, Boslla lights, again, not terrible, right? Like actually somewhat surprisingly decent, but not a ton of distance, just more like illumination all over. Headlights with fog lights. Aux Beams, just Aux Beams. Just Aux Beams. Just Aux Beam. Like, I'm just flabbergasted by that. And again, it's not like amazing or anything like that, but it is Mind-blowing how good that is. Now adding back in the headlights, which again, they don't do anything. They get me the first 20, 30 feet probably, but I don't even need them, right? So anyway, so I am super pleased and super impressed with these Aux Beam lights. I just think that they are so good for the money. Now these NiLights are $20. So again, in conjunction with the headlights, they definitely do help, right? They do add some. But again, man, those Aux Beam lights are so good. Boslla lights do just a tiny bit, but not much. So anyway, so again, you can tell I'm just in love with these lights. But I mean, for 120 bucks, like, come on. It's kind of a no-brainer. So anyways, I hope that that's helpful. I hope that that kind of gives you a look at the view with my lights on and how that works for me. I love it. I'm getting there. I can't wait to try it with the Aux Beam ditch lights because I think those are going to be even brighter, even more throw to the sides. So I'm pretty excited about that. But again, I hope that's helpful. If you have any questions about the lighting setup, let's turn on the Aux Beams. If you have any questions about the lighting setup, if you have any questions about how I wired it, anything like that, post up in the comments below. I'm happy to help. Look in the description below for links to Facebook, Instagram, the podcast, wherever you want to come hang out. I'd love to have you. There's also a link to the store, so if you're into patches or stickers, I've actually got a bunch of new stickers on the way. I've just recently got some new patches, so the store is getting a little bit bigger, getting more options for you. So if you're into that stuff, I'd love for you to check it out. But yeah, hit me up in the comments. Like and subscribe, and we will see you guys next week.